Hey guys, welcome back to Philly Sports Sports. I am joined by a very special guest today, Alex Carr. How you doing?
How's it going, man? Thank you for having me.
So let's just get right off here. You were born in the United Kingdom,
Well, I wasn't born
or
there.
you're
I was
from
I
there.
was I was born in America, and then at 3 months old I moved to the UK. Yeah, that's my origin story as it goes.
So from living as a kid in the UK, how did you get into the Phillies?
That is, that's a great question. So when I was young, I obviously didn't know baseball existed when I was 5 or 6 years old. I moved over to the United States of America. I was very green. I didn't know the difference between the two different types of football, as it were. And so I really didn't know anything about American sports. And so a boy in my kindergarten class introduced me to baseball as a whole. And then his favorite team was the Phillies. And growing up in central New Jersey, you either choose the northern side of things, which would be Yankees and Mets territory, or you choose the southern style, which is the Phillies, and the pain and misery that comes along with being a Philadelphia sports fan. So I chose the latter, and I oh there goes my dog, and I have never looked back since. It really I think the thing that made me fall in love with baseball most was uh shockingly enough the numbers. I've never really been a big math person, but something about a sport that you can quantify made me really comfortable and made me really happy. And uh I I have just fallen in love with it even more and more as I've gotten older. And now here I stand at 24 years old, just trying to make it my life, and what I'm doing with it. So it's pretty cool. I'm very glad that I was introduced to it by that boy in my kindergarten class.
Do you remember the kid's name?
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna reveal that because he is also in sports media.
Oh,
He is also a person in sports, and so I don't know if he'd be comfortable enough with me sharing it, but I thank him all the time for it. I let him know that it was because of him that I really found my way to this passion, I guess.
yeah. Well, you made the right decision choosing the Phillies. It might be the
Thanks,
wrong
man.
decision sometimes, but
Yeah, it definitely feels that way sometimes, and I sometimes think about what my life would be like if I were another a fan of another team. But I feel like the Yankee fan life is too easy, and the Mets fan life is too difficult. And the Phillies for me are just right. So it was the perfect choice.
so half of my family is from upstate New Jersey, so they're all Yankees, Giants. So I
Hmm.
started out as like a Yankees Giants fan, kind of when I was like really young, when I knew a whole lot, and when I knew like nothing, and then I started to get older, and I kind of realized that it doesn't really make sense. So then I converted myself over to Eagles, Phillies, and well, seeing how the Giants are starting to progress and the Yankees are the Yankees, I'm happy I chose Philly sports though, because I can't stand the Yankees at all. And if I was a
Yeah, there
Yankees
you
fan,
go.
I would. So being the Phillies fan, obviously, as you said, you were introduced in kindergarten. What made you want to write for the Good Fight?
So I think what drew me to TGP in general was just I think the overall tone of the work was more my style. It's a lot more personal. Instead of just being a report style of writing, it's a I guess it's more of a story style of writing, which I really like. I like being personal with my writing. I like writing as if I'm speaking to someone instead of just reporting the facts and doing those kinds of things. I really like being able to use humor in my writing, being able to use, just interpersonal stories and reaccountings of things as in my writing. And I feel like with other opportunities, that kind of style doesn't really come as easily. And there are many, many great, publications out there, especially in Phillies media. There are so many really great publications out there. But I find that a lot of them do, and this is not a bash of any other publication, but a lot of them do very similar things. And that's something that I kind of wanted to stray from. I wanted to stray from the normal, and kind of find my own path, make my own way. And I felt that TGP was the right way to do that. And so I joined them about, I guess it's 3 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. I joined 3 years ago, and I've been on a bit of a hiatus for a little bit of writing, just because it really hasn't felt the same for me lately. I've definitely found a little bit more solace in writing in my tweets. So within 280 characters, I really think that's my niche right now. And then, obviously again with my multimedia presence. So I'm doing stuff on Twitch. I'm trying to start it on YouTube. A whole bunch of different things, and I'm really enjoying that a lot. So it is really new for me to be branching out into those things, but it's also really exciting, and it's really keeping me on my toes. So I'm still, I still love being with my friends at the Good Fight, and I love being part of that family over there. But I definitely haven't written as much as I would like to. I'm hoping that with a new normal season, that kind of ramps up for me again, but we'll see.
So when do you think you're gonna go back?
Well, it's not that I'm even away. It's, I still sometimes tweet from the Good Fight account. I still, talk with my friends from TGP every single day. I'm still in the Slack chat. I'm still, I still have my publishing rights. It's just, I am not as inspired to write something as much as I was when I first started there, because, writing in baseball is really interesting. It's very I don't know. You know how they say, don't. I think that's a bit of a sad turn to take with it, but they say don't meet your heroes, right? Because you never really know if it's really gonna if they're gonna be exactly what you dreamed of them to be. And so with the whole COVID season and things like that, I was very heavily engaged in writing, and I was getting access to all of these Zoom meetings with players and coaches and things like that, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but it was very different than what I expected it to be. And I didn't want to be. I don't know. I didn't want to be a reporter as much as I want to be a creator, a writer, somebody who produces my own stuff, my own content, instead of just relaying team news, right? Like instead of just reporting, this person's on the injured list and this person's coming up. I wanted to do more than that. So that's kind of what hit me when I was covering the COVID season, and that was a hard realization to have. And so I think it kind of threw me off my writing game a little bit. But I think I'm planning on making a return at some point this season, and it's going to be with a brand new me. It's going to be a brand new form of content, I think. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really pumped to get that going, because I think that, I still want to write, but I want it to be different from the things that I used to do. So that's what I'm gonna do at some point.
And I have noticed that with the Good Fight, as you said, it's kind of like a conversation, a story, kind of, instead of just reporting. It sounds like they're talking to you sometimes.
Yeah, it's there are so many good people that have worked there and that still work there. So many brilliant writers, so many smart baseball people that have, both gone on to bigger and better things, and also, are still there. So, there's so many people. And what I love about that is that they let you do whatever it is that you want to do. You don't have to toe any kind of lines. You can be as open and honest and loud and proud as you want to be. And I have so many friends over there that write comedy pieces that I just love, and that I feel like don't get enough attention. Justin Clue, the old managing editor of the Good Fight, used to, he is one of the funniest, most cynical people I've ever met in my entire life. And he's hysterical. I mean, he's still part of the Good Fight podcast network. He still works, with us sometimes, but he's a funny guy, and I always admired him, and I thank him all the time for bringing me on. He was, the guy that really brought me on and decided to let me have my shot with TGP, and I'm forever thankful for that, because that was one of the big stepping stones for me in what I've got at my disposal now. he is just one of those guys that I really think of. There's another writer there. His name is Smarty. He is just a fabulous, fabulous writer. He's hysterical. Another cynical type, but aren't we all if we're Phillies fans? And he's just another one of those really, really funny guys that makes absolutely brilliant content that is just hysterical. So that is stuff that I definitely feel doesn't get enough love. And yeah, that's what drew me to it. That's what really drew me over there. It was very just welcoming, inviting, very easy to get started with, and I am forever thankful that I made that decision.
There's
And there's my
Noah
dog again.
So first of all, The Good Fight is a great name, but staying with the content, what made you want to stream on Twitch? Like, how did that all start?
Yeah, so that's a weird thing. That's like a weird. It's a weird part of my story, I guess, because it kind of came out of nowhere. I was looking to start somehow, trying to. Oh, I don't even know how to say it. Like trying to find my own way to create, something that was mine, that I could call my own, that I could really take ownership of. And I think baseball media in general, there is a huge hole in the content creator portion of it. I think that, you have a few YouTubers out there that are bigger, that are, doing more exciting things. One of my close and personal, or I guess not close and personal, but one of my favorite people out there is Bailey, aka Foolish Baseball. He's an absolutely brilliant writer, creator, producer. He is just a genius, and I'm proud to call him an acquaintance, if not a friend. And I'm very, very I admire him a lot, and I think that what he is doing is huge for this sport. I think exactly what he is doing right now is just one massive, massive step forward for baseball. Because in order to popularize this sport, we need more people doing what he is doing. And you can point to other guys like Fuzzy on YouTube, like Draft Deck Mark on YouTube, who are bigger. But I think that their type of content, and this is no bash on this type of content, it's one of the biggest sections of YouTube. Their types of content is a little bit more reactionary. And I want to see more creative and genuine and exciting new content being made from baseball for baseball. I want to see more people like Bailey sprout up. So I kind of said to myself, well, why can't I do that? So I decided that one of the biggest, holes in baseball is on Twitch. I feel like some people are already doing YouTube. Some people are already doing, MLB The Show content on Twitch. But I want to do a little bit different. I want to create a space where people can watch baseball together and talk about it, especially while there is a global pandemic. We don't get to hang out with our friends. We don't get to, sit down and crack open a couple beers or sodas or whatever it is you are of age enough to drink. We don't get to, sit down with our friends right now and have a chat and watch some baseball. And so I decided that that's what I wanted to start my Twitch channel doing. I wanted to start my Twitch channel having a space for Phillies fans to just come on in, have a chat with other Phillies fans or other baseball fans, and just watch the game. And I mean, I'd be watching the game anyway. So I figured that, those many people that already follow my tweets would enjoy watching it with me instead of just following my, baseline tweets. So I decided that would be really fun. I also had to move, unfortunately. So instead of going to the games this year, I will be watching them from home, which is really sad, except for a select few, which I will be going to, including tomorrow's game being opening day. I'm very excited. But I was looking for a way to go from watching the games at the ballpark to doing something productive with my time that wasn't that. And so I settled on streaming on Twitch, and I have not looked back. I mean, it has been incredible. It exploded in the first, week of my starting on Twitch, and then I hit affiliate, and it exploded even further. And now, I just couldn't have ever imagined where I would be right now. When I first started the whole Twitch thing, I thought that maybe, 10 people would follow from Twitter. And I'd have to build up from there, but it turned out that it was a whole lot more than that. And everybody's really been so supportive, and has seemed to enjoy it. And I'm really, really thrilled that this is a move that a lot of people seem to have liked out of me. So I'm looking forward to what's next. I'm still gonna try and start producing some YouTube content. I'm still gonna try and do a whole bunch of more creative and interactive things with the people that already follow me. But for now, I'm really, really satisfied with where I'm at, and it's definitely filling that void of creation that I was looking to fill. So I'm very happy about that.
And your streams are like fantastic. I have so
Oh,
much
thank
fun
you.
watching them, and especially your who's or whatever.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I have a lot of I think that's the part of me on Twitter that not a lot of people get to see. In real life, I am an actor. I've been an actor for a long, long time. And so I'm a very charismatic human being. And I think that's the number one thing that people always tell me when they, get to speak to me or get to, exchange with me on Twitter or something like that. They tell me that my personality and my passion really comes through. And that means a lot to me because I have a lot of that. And it means a lot when people pick up on that just through text-based tweets that I put out there on the internet for people to see, and that just always makes me very happy. So I'm glad that I now get to share that and connect interpersonally with more people. I feel like Twitch is just something that combines my two favorite passions and does so really, really cohesively, and I love that, and I'm very, very happy that I decided, I guess 2 months ago now, to make that leap. It's really, really been incredible.
so staying with Twitch, how'd you come up with the name Take a Bulk?
So
It's a great name.
I thank you. I thought it was a little generic at first, but there's one thing in baseball that I really, really hate, and it's balks. I think that balks are ridiculous. I think that it is the dumbest rule in the sport. I think that, I understand why it's implemented, but I think that, it shouldn't be something that can drive home a run. And yet it is. I think it's just such a silly rule. So I wanted to go with something that was a pun that was like a little bit funny, but also, included something that I'm very, very passionate about, so that when people ask me this question, I can answer it with a lot of passion, because I think it is something that really frustrates me. So I decided to take a bulk because I think it's punny, it has a nice ring to it, but also it's something I'm passionate about, and I feel like nowadays it's really, really hard to find unique names, to find something that you can put your trademark on, and so I found that, and I immediately checked on like every social network if it was taken, and I was like, oh, shockingly it's not. So I thought that would be a good name, and so here I stand a couple months later, very, very excited to have this brand that I'm building. It's really cool.
And another thing that people don't get to see on Twitter is the beard.
Yes, yes.
And if you ever shave it, the chat is not gonna like that.
No,
and I won't
no.
like it either.
I've made the recent acquisition of a quarantine beard, and I don't think my family is a fan of it. My parents certainly aren't. They think I look homeless, and that's okay. Because my chat really seems to love it, and so does my girlfriend. I think my girlfriend also really likes it. She really would like me to trim it every once in a while, which I should start doing, in all fairness. But it was something that I decided to try out. I decided to try, growing my hair out and growing my facial hair out for pretty much all of quarantine. I've shaved, let's see, because we've been going at this for almost a year now. I was taking pretty good care of myself within the first 2 or 4 months of quarantine, and then I think I started letting it grow around the halfway mark. So it's probably about 6 months of growth that I have on my hair right now, and on the beard, it's probably about two or 2.5 months. I started growing it out pretty much right before I got on Twitch, and so it's been interesting. I kind of like it. I can't lie. So I'm gonna keep it for now. We'll see what happens when things start getting more normal.
Yeah, and in the summer it's gonna be a little hot. So
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. But
so
we'll see.
you kind of answered this, but I want you to. I think it should be emphasized more. Did you ever think Take a Walk would take off how it did, and how has that experience been?
You know, I I can't lie. I have been very, very lucky in my quote unquote career of sports stuff. It's hard to put it under one roof. I've done so many different sports things over these last 3 years. Um, but I've been really, really lucky. And I think I've just been in the right place at the right time for all of these things. And it's taken some planning and it's taken some some thought. But I could not have imagined it starting the way that it did. So with my Twitter stuff, I worked really hard for a really long time and grew steadily at the start of things, right? And this is why, first of all, to go off on a little tangent, this is why I tell everybody that asks me, you can do anything you want to in 2021. Like you can be anything you want to be as long as you work hard enough at it. And I truly mean that. Because, I didn't go to school for journalism. I didn't go to school for sports. I didn't go to school for anything. I went to school for theater. I went to school for something that is so diametrically opposed to sports and baseball and writing and all of these things. I did not learn a single thing about Twitter or writing or anything like that in college. I did not. And yet here I stand having made what I like to consider a semi-successful platform for myself out of, you know, out of nothing. I didn't, I got help from people along the way, of course. And I thank those people every single day. They are the reason that I am doing what I'm doing right now. But I started from a fresh account. I had an old Twitter account from when I was in like high school and stuff, and I deleted that because I just didn't feel like it was right to broadcast all my baseball stuff to all the people that followed me from high school. So I started a new account. I started fresh, and man, it was crazy. I think I started in 2019 or 2018. I guess it would have to be November of 2018. So it's been 3 years, and I just cannot believe what has happened with it. There was a time where I was barely cresting 100 200 followers, and now I'm almost at 6,500, I think, on Twitter. And then that started slow and then really, really picked up towards the end of the first year. And then Twitch, I mean, like I said, I expected maybe 10 people from Twitter to come over, because you don't see things like that translate well, right? You don't really see people that go from one platform to another. They don't really bring a lot of people with them, just because it's a lot of work, and you already have one platform, and not everybody is experienced with the other platform. So it's a lot of work. But man, my first stream, I think we topped out at 102 viewers, which
I
was
was
just
there.
ridiculous. That was stupid. And I have gone on to top out at a few more, but for now we're sitting at an average of like 45 or so every stream, which is freaking amazing. It takes many Twitch streamers years to get to that point, to get to 45 concurrent viewers all the time. That's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I was able to get there within 2 months, which is just, I am so thankful every day that I turn on the camera and I start streaming, that my chat gets flooded when I hit that start streaming button, and it's so humbling for me. It really is. And I don't want anybody to ever think for a second that this is something I take for granted, because it really is not. I am shocked every time, every single stream, that people actually show up. It is just so strange to me. So I'm very, very thankful for that. And I never expected it to be what it is. And I think I say that at least once a stream too. I mean, it really is so
I
surprising to
think
me.
at least like
Uh,
3 a stream.
yeah, at least 3 times a
Alex
stream.
Carr fan page just starts like throwing in subs and
Oh
crazy
man,
stuff, and you
that's
just
just. But see, that's insane. ACFP, for those who are listening that don't actually attend my streams, there's a very generous person out there that goes by the alias of Alex Carr fan page, which makes me so uncomfortable every time that I have to say it. So I call him ACFP. Who has, I think, gifted over 70 subscriptions to my Twitch channel, which is just ludicrous. And for those who don't know, a Twitch channel subscription costs $5. So, he's given me such a generous amount of money. And granted, not all of that money comes my way. A lot of it goes Twitch's way. But the fact that he has been willing to be so generous in supporting me just means the world to me. I mean, it's him, it's other folks that I don't know if they are comfortable being named, so I will not name them. But there are many other generous folks, and then there are just like my regular viewers who like yourself, like many others out there who, they don't have to donate anything. I never expect people to donate or subscribe or anything like that, because I think it's not necessary. All that matters to me is that you enjoy what I'm doing, and that people are having fun watching, and they are, and that's very, very humbling for me. So yes, I do state my gratitude at least 3 times a stream, but it's warranted because it's shocking how generous these people are.
Okay, so now let's go into the future. What should people expect from Take a Balk and Twitter and everything in the future?
So I'm not planning on changing anything. What people should expect from me is more frequency. I'm going to be streaming more often, as much as I can. If there's ever a time where, this whole Twitch thing can become my full-time gig, you better believe it's going to be that. I'm going to be very, very cautious with that. I know that this is not something that is necessarily known for being consistent, but I'm going to do my darndest to try and reach partner, and I'm going to do my darndest to try and make this my full-time thing, make content creation my full-time gig. I think that's a really nice medium. It's a nice middle of the line for me. It puts my acting and my baseball love together, and creates this one cohesive, really exciting thing for me, that also just happens to be very pandemic safe, which I also am very thankful for. So like I said, just more frequency. I'm gonna be starting a YouTube channel very, very soon, once I have all the ingredients at my disposal now. So all I need is a couple games to play, and those are coming. So I'm very, very excited for that. I just bought a new PC. I have a whole battle station set up, that I've got a couple monitors on hand. I got a new capture card. I've got, my consoles. I've got everything that I need to start creating this content. So I'm very, very excited to do that. I'm hopefully, I still got to learn the ropes. Like I said, this thing blew up way faster than I even expected. I didn't even have time to learn how to edit videos or learn how to do any of that stuff, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. And so, they should be expecting YouTube content from me, Twitter content from me, as always, Twitch content from me at least 5 days a week. And I'm just very, very excited to keep moving with it, especially now that the regular season is here. This is when baseball really starts coming to the forefront of things, because, all these other sports are either, coming to their crest or they're closing in on ending. And then when the summer hits, it's really, really baseball time. So I'm very, very excited to just keep doing what I've been doing, and making my content evolve, making it, adding new layers to it, and just doing new stuff. I'm very, very excited. So I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be a really, really good time.
And I've been making YouTube videos. I think this is it's almost been 4 years I've been doing this.
Wow.
It's really fun to make videos, and I average like 15 views per video, but I don't really care. It's just like,
no, that's exactly what I'm saying. I never have been one to look at the numbers and get discouraged by them or encouraged by them. I mean, it helps when you get traction, right? Like that really makes you want to keep going and keep growing. But I mean, like I said, I'm somebody who started a completely fresh Twitter account. I didn't do it because of the reactions I was getting, because of the followers I was getting. My content has been the same year after year after year. It hasn't changed because of the gaining or loss of any popularity. When COVID hit and baseball was, for lack of a better word, canceled, I had to find a way to keep making content without running out of ideas. And so if that didn't discourage me, I don't think anything will. And my imparting to you, I suppose, is that like you just never look at the numbers. The numbers are silly. Whether you're getting 1 million views or you're getting 10 views, or no views, the numbers are just ridiculously silly because they can change all the time, just depending on what your topic of discussion is, depending on the hashtags you use or the clickbait thumbnails that you put on it. It's always going to change, but as long as you like doing what you're doing, I think that you are in a good spot.
Speaking of numbers, I think the one time I've ever actually looked at numbers is when Kawhi Leonard hit that shot, which we're not going to get too much into.
Oh God!
I made a reaction video, and it's at like almost 22,000 views or something. And
wow!
I was noticed by this company that like makes commercials or something, and I was in an NBA DoorDash commercial during the playoffs.
Wow! How about that?
I don't know if it's still airing, but it was pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet. Good for you, my friend.
Thanks. So let's move on to baseball, even though we've been talking about baseball, but away from the content part of baseball. What with the Phillies, you're pretty familiar with them.
A little bit.
What were your thoughts on the offseason moves? Like what would you like think about the offseason with the Phillies?
Honestly, there's quite a few byways to look at this, right? We've got the offseason of front office moves, we've got the offseason of personnel moves, we've got the offseason of player moves. But overall, I think they kind of aced it. I'm not going to give them a full-on A. I would give them a nice B plus, primarily because I think they could have done more. But I think what they did do addressed a lot of the issues that they had to address, right? They brought back Didi Gregorius, which, I can't say I love the move just because while I'm a huge Didi Gregorius fan, I don't love the surrounding metrics for him. I mention it every time I talk about him on stream. Bottom 5% of exit velocity and hard hit percentages in all of baseball, and he has been that way his whole career. But he does play park advantage as well. So obviously excited to have him around, especially a 2-year, $28 million deal for a guy like Didi is chump change. So it's especially with the DH coming to the National League next year, it's definitely happening. That's who am I to complain about Didi Gregorius being here another year? As well as obviously re-signing JT Realmuto. Again, I didn't love the idea of adding Realmuto on a 5-year contract. I think 5 years is a long time. Catchers don't age particularly well, but JT is an extraordinary athlete, and I don't know what the team morale would have been had they not re-signed him. So I think that was a great move as well. Obviously, this lineup is incredibly deep, especially when you add Brad Miller into the mix. This lineup is one of the deepest in all of baseball. It just so happens to be in a division of also other very deep lineups, which I'm sure many people are well aware. The NL East is pretty tough. But then I also, I'm a big fan of what they did with the bullpen and with the rotation as well. Not because I think they added the best possible guys at their disposal, but because I think they played the upside game. I think they looked at Jose Alvarado, they looked at Sam Coonrod, they looked at Chase Anderson, they looked at Matt Moore. They said, these are guys that probably have a little bit more gas in the tank than they have been showing over the last few years. So they picked them up. They went after them. And I think we have seen those pickups bear fruit for sure. Jose Alvarado looks absolutely incredible, even though he started slipping a little bit towards the end of spring. Sam Coonrod looked amazing this spring, as did Chase Anderson and Matt Moore. These aren't guys that are going to be absolutely immaculate for you this year. They're not the big name acquisitions that you would expect, a team of top 5 payroll in the league to go for. But there's more time for that in the future. Right now they are playing for upside. They have cultivated depth, which is a big deal. And overall, I think they really nailed it with player decisions this year, especially because they've left some space before the luxury tax for the trade deadline, which I'm also very much looking forward to. I think if they are still in contention by the trade deadline, they're going to be one of those teams that are really looking, especially for one of those salary dump deals that have become so famous, over these last 2 years. So I think that's definitely something to watch out for. And on top of that, I think that they made a great decision with personnel changes. I think Dave Dombrowski, I was against him at first. I prefer a prolonged contender as opposed to a one and done World Series team. But I am really, really shocked with how much I have loved Dave Dombrowski so far as the Phillies president of baseball operations. And Sam Fuld was the absolute perfect choice to back him up. I am very, very excited to see how Sam Fuld's career progresses in a front office. And I think, as far as they've done with, lower personnel decisions in terms of, development staff and everything along those lines, I think they've done brilliantly. So I'm excited for the future of this team. I really, really am. I know a lot of people are not as bullish on their future as I am, but I think with, a brand new scouting director at the helm, an incredible development team, and some really, really exciting young prospects in the system, I'm really, really excited about their future. That's just me, though.
With the JT Realmuto trade, you said you didn't know what was gonna happen if they didn't re-sign him and all this other stuff. I would have think Bryce Harper would have taken that to note and say something to the front office and maybe request a trade even or something, because they're best friends, and Bryce Harper said at the end of the season he needs to be our catcher next season. So I think that would have affected not only Phillies fans and media, but it would have affected Bryce Harper too.
As much as I want to agree with you, I think that ultimately Bryce Harper understands that, and JT Realmuto understands. They both understand baseball is a business. And while that is applicable in some scenarios and not in others, I think that ultimately when it comes down to free agent negotiations and clubhouse morale, you have to be willing to make those tough decisions. If JT Realmuto is asking for 8 years and $200 million, no one is going to give him that. Nobody. And if a team steps up and is willing, I don't want to keep a 30-year-old catcher through his age 38 season. At least if I were a general manager, and if there's a general manager out there that wants to do that, by all means, they can go ahead and do it. But I think that they played the JT Realmuto situation absolutely perfectly. And I was very critical of them to begin the offseason. I remained optimistic, but once these things started coming out about how they were trying to cut payroll and not spend as much money, I started getting mad and upset and worried. And then, it came out that JT Realmuto's market had dried up and there were no other players in the hunt for him. And once the Phillies re-signed him, I was really, really impressed. I was very impressed with their pursuit of him. I think they played it absolutely perfectly.
I don't know if it was just the JT, if they didn't upgrade from Andy McPhail and get Dave Dombrowski, or upgrade from
not hard to upgrade from Andy McPhail.
I mean, they didn't have a choice. There's no way to downgrade from him. But if they with Joe Girardi, if they kept Gabe Kapler, which was ultimately they weren't going to do that, hopefully anyway. But with Matt Klentak too, all this stuff, I don't think he would have if everything stayed the same from 2019 with the front office and the manager and the coaching staff and all that stuff. I think he would have taken that to note a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, but ultimately I think that the bringing in of Dombrowski was a huge shift to the culture of the team, just because it if there's one person that is known for taking a team and mortgaging their future and winning it all, being successful in mortgaging the future, it's Dave Dombrowski. He's the guy that, when it's time to win, he wins. And that's how it goes. So I'm very much looking forward to see what his remaining years of tenure with the Phillies lead to. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Okay, going into the season, obviously the season starts tomorrow. When this is uploaded, it'll be the day of opening day. But what do you think about this season? Like, what are your predictions? What do you think is gonna happen? Just
my overall predictions for the Phillies, I have them at 86 wins. I have them at a wild card spot. I think they'll get there. I know 86 wins seems to be a small amount, but I actually think that that's what it's going to take. I think in the NL East, it's a lot closer of a race than people think it is. I think that the Braves will win many less games than many people think. I also think the Mets will probably win many less games. I think all of these teams will be around a similar win total. And so I think 86 games is what's going to get you that second wild card spot because the Padres obviously are going to take the first one. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing how not only the NL East pans out, but all of these other divisions, especially like the NL West, that is going to be really exciting. I think the AL West is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think, not just between the Astros and the A's, but between the Mariners too. I think the Mariners are a really good young team that just aren't getting the looks they deserve. I also think the AL East is going to be interesting. I think the Yankees are going to suffer a lot at the hands of the injury gods, whereas I think the Blue Jays, who are suffering at the hands of the injury gods right now, are going to, I think, storm past them. I really think the Blue Jays might take the AL East this year, and the Yankees might fall by the wayside just because of the injuries that they're going to incur. Because Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, they can't stay healthy. DJ LeMahieu, he gets hurt a little bit sometimes too. Luke Voit is already hurt. Their entire rotation, 3 of their rotation options have pitched a combined 1 inning over the last 2 years. I mean, it is insane. So I'm really looking forward to, while it's going to be a weird season, I think there's going to be a lot of really exciting storylines to follow, especially when it comes to the NL East. I think we're going to see a lot of shock and awe when it comes down to the wire, and I'm really excited.
So you think the Phillies going to get second over the Mets or the?
I think they're going to get second over the Braves. I think the Mets will place first in the division, in my opinion. I think they have the best all-around squad. I think their lineup is really good. I think their rotation, when healthy, is bonkers. And I think their bullpen needs a little bit of work, but they can, work on that during the trade deadline. Whereas I do think their defense does lack a little bit. I am one who also looks at the Braves roster and is never impressed. And they just always have this voodoo magic on their side that somehow leads them to victory. But I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I really don't think they've backed up their depth enough. I think it's a very dangerous game that they are playing with their rotation as well as with their bullpen. They lost 4 bullpen arms to free agency this year, and they signed 0. So they are playing a dangerous game with the bullpen, a dangerous game with the rotation, and their lineup has always been that 1 through 4, and then it's really nothing else. So we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm really, really looking forward to just watching the NL East unfold this year. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think, but I think it's also going to be one of the most exciting and gut-wrenching divisions to follow over the entirety of the 2021 season.
Now that I'm thinking about it, now you're saying all that about the Braves, like everything's changing for me now. I still think Phillies. I still think the Phillies are gonna be in third, but now I'm deciding between the Mets and the Braves. You just messed everything up for me.
I don't understand how people look at those 2 rosters, at the Mets and the Braves rosters, and they're even close to deciding that the Braves are gonna trump them. It's just, I don't think there's any contest. But I'm somebody who's not as bullish on the Braves as many Braves fans and fans across baseball seem to be. But I think a lot of people are starting to come around on the fact that the Braves have really overperformed their projections over the last few years. So there's a reason Pecota has them not even at a 500 record this year, because they just have really skimped on the depth this time around. And You're not going to see and you're going to see a good Freddie Freeman, right? You're not going to see an MVP Freddie Freeman. You're not seeing a second in NL MVP race Marcell Ozuna this year. Dansby Swanson had a really great year. Is he going to repeat that? Travis d'Arnaud had a ridiculous year. He's not even going to come close to that, in my opinion. I mean, Travis d'Arnaud is not that kind of player. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Charlie Morton had a really bad 2020 regular season and is getting very up there in age. Drew Smyly, what? Why did they pay him $13 million? I don't understand. Ian Anderson, really, really good, has not played a full season yet. He's probably my favorite of the three, though, because Mike Soroka is not the ace of the staff that people were really heralding him as in 2019. He is a very, very lucky pitcher, and I'm really honestly excited to see him come back from this ACL injury and see what he puts up, because I think a lot of people are going to start seeing a lot more real version of Mike Soroka. And Max Fried is very talented, but is hard pressed getting past the fifth inning. Again, this is why I am less bullish on this rotation, because they are risky in terms of injury, in terms of workload, and then the Braves didn't do anything to upgrade their bullpen to bolster that. So it really it confuses me a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I'm somebody who's definitely biased because I'm the farthest thing from a Braves fan. But that said, I also am not a Mets fan, and I think they've built a very good team. We'll have to wait and see how these things play out. But I do not think it would be bonkers to say the Phillies have a shot at winning the division this year. So I'm really excited to see it play out.
I do want to know, I've seen like different predictions. I've seen first place, last place, like third place, second place. What do you think about the Nationals?
They're a fourth place team. That team is really bad. Unless we see completely transformed versions of Josh Bell and Kyle Schwarber, which I don't think we will, and unless we see, Trey Turner was incredible last year. I don't think he's that kind of player either. I think, he's very fast and he makes some good contact, but he does not hit for as much extra base power as we saw last year. I think Juan Soto is incredible. He's the best hitter in the sport, in my personal opinion. But I don't think that lineup looks very good. And on top of that, their bullpen looks horrible. Brad Hand is due for a major step back. Daniel Hudson and Tanner Rainey can only do so much for you. Daniel Hudson isn't even that good anymore. And they lost Sean Doolittle. And then the rotation is so old and so injury riddled. I mean, Pat Corbin, who knows what's going to happen with him? We saw a significant velocity drop last year. Steven Strasburg has already been pulled off the mound twice for precaution of injury. Max Scherzer is amazing, but he did not look like the Max Scherzer we know and love last year. And not to put too much stock into that, but he looked really hittable. So the back end of that rotation, who even knows what that's become now? It's like Joe Ross, Austin Voth, Eric Fetty. I have no idea what they're going to do there. And John Lester, who is just a walking coffin. So I'm not sure what to make of that team, other than the fact that they are going to not even be in the same league as the first three teams in the East.
Yeah, I've seen.
I even honestly, sorry to cut you off.
No,
I honestly think the Marlins might even, be better than the Nationals this year. That's not far gone to say.
I've seen a lot of Phillies are fourth, Nationals are third. I've seen the Mets in third. I've seen people. I've seen it all pretty much with these predictions in the National League. It's ridiculous.
People that are looking at putting the Nationals over the Phillies this year are just being silly. They are just being silly.
How many years in a row now has Draftneck Mark said that the Phillies are a fourth place team? What is this?
I don't know. I don't know. And I honestly, I just have, I think at this point, it's more of just a bias against the Phillies as a club that it is thinking that they have, a less good team. But it is what it is. Philly loves being the underdog.
I love watching his videos just to laugh at his predictions. And I didn't even watch this year. The Mets beating the Yankees in the World Series again.
I don't think so. I think this year I think it's gonna be a very surprising American League team that's gonna be in the World Series. I think it's either gonna be the White Sox or it's gonna be the Toronto Blue Jays. That's my guess. And then for the National League, I think the Dodgers are just
Yeah.
gonna take it. I think they're gonna repeat.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Plug it all. Where can people find you on social media? Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, whatever.
So you can find me. My two primary methods of communication, I suppose, are Twitter. You can follow me on there at Alex Carr MLB, and then you can find me on Twitch, which is my new addiction, which is at Take a Bulk. And I look forward to seeing you all there. It's a great time. Stop by. We watch a whole bunch of different baseball games and things, and soon to come, we'll be playing some MLB The Show. We'll be playing some Out of the Park Baseball, which just came out, which is so fun. And we'll be doing a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait.
And I'll have all his links and for Twitter, Twitch, the Discord. It'll all be in the description. So just scroll down a little bit and it'll be right there for people watching the video. Alex, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
And everyone else, I will see you later. Bye.